On a Friday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily, I am merely Beau. He is the great Z. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. Happy to be back with you here
Yeah,
at the undisclosed location to see your
West side of Cleveland.
beautiful face. It's glorious. Weather has been great all week, and then today I saw something that has blown my mind, and I'd like to share it with you.
Do tell.
I'm going to share it with you.
Do tell.
With a photograph.
Okay. All right.
So
Zegura is
today
pulling his phone up. He's into the photo album.
we're headed to New York after the show today for.
I do like that
a
Ahmed
good
shirt you're wearing. By
a
the
good.
way.
Yeah, me
It's
too.
a good one.
For a good friend of mine's daughter's bat mitzvah.
Okay.
And so Miss Kay, in her rush today, forgot to bring her lunch. And I said, you know what? It's kind of on the way. I'll hit you up downtown, bring you your lunch.
Why not?
And then I'll head on out here to the undisclosed location. As I was bringing her lunch,
Yep.
I saw a human basically in Mario Kart, but in real life. And what I mean by that is,
Let's see.
feast your eyes on this. So he comes by, scoots by me on
Holy cow!
on a Mario Kart, like between a couple cars, and then the next.
So that's not legal.
I would
There's no license plate on this thing. There are no blinkers, sir. This is a go-kart for the people.
not even a go-kart.
Like, it's legitimately a go-kart without a shell. So it's like the frame of a go-kart, a guy's in a helmet on a street in a turn lane in downtown.
That's downtown. He's on East 9th. And then here, so you can get the live, so you can actually just see it in action.
Oh my God.
He's driving across the intersection. I mean, he's driving, and sweet Miss Kay said, "I'm concerned he's going to
You
get
ought to be.
squished."
Yeah.
I'm going to post. I'll put the picture on Twitter so people
Well,
can at least see it. I don't know. Should I not?
no, I wouldn't.
Okay,
I wouldn't
all
do
right,
that.
fine.
I just
It's up. I mean, he's out there in public.
Yeah, but he got away with it. Like, let him live.
Do you think it's illegal?
Of course it's illegal. Of course it's illegal.
If you can ride,
You cannot
You can ride birds and scooters.
but not in traffic.
Well, you're not supposed to ride them on the sidewalks, so I guess you're riding them on the streets. So this is a seated bird, in essence.
The bird question just threw me for a loop because you have to have a license to drive a. You have to like a dirt bike.
This
for
was a
example,
grown man.
Like a motorcycle dirt bike, you have to have turn signals. You have to have a license. Like I've even seen people drive like those side by sides, like the Polaris things.
Sure.
You have to have a license on the back of it. You have to have turn signals. So what is the threshold that allows for a bird to be legal? And I don't think that's. I think there's no chance that's.
He had
legal.
a sound system. He was jamming to tunes.
Do you remember that viral video of downtown
Yes,
Cleveland?
of course I do.
Of course you do.
This is less of
And
a
the
car
Mark-
than that.
The Mark NASCAR.
Yes,
Cut.
this is
Look at
less
that cut.
This is a less of a vehicle.
That's probably
than
the
that was.
hardest I've ever laughed at a
Oh,
viral video in my life.
It's
When I
tremendous.
first saw what was happening there, and the description of it is the hardest I've ever laughed. My hunch is that's illegal. I think it's wildly illegal, and I think that if you posted it,
Well, I
it's
don't want
very-
him to get in
you don't
trouble,
want
then
the-
I won't.
Like
I don't.
I think
I
like he
just-
got away with it. So like let him.
got away with
wow.
it. I mean, he's driving down the busiest part of downtown in broad daylight.
So in your view, this was very like, what's the big deal?
No, it was very
No,
like,
for him, like his actions were like, yes, so
yeah, he was playing loud music. He was not trying to just discreetly zip around the town. Like, I heard his music before, and then I turned around and I was like, there's no car there. And then I looked down, and there he was on the ground, basically, in a Mario Kart. I mean, it looks like he's going Mario Karting.
I have seen that before. On the east side, there was an accident.
okay.
Someone
If this
in the,
guy gets in an
someone in the
accident,
Cleveland
toast.
media, like there was a major fender bender, and this guy's doing donuts and driving around. It's a little white car.
No, that's
No,
the viral video.
That's the one. That's the viral guy.
Okay, that's the.
No. This ain't that. This is less than that. This is Mario Kart.
It's,
Like,
he's in a little.
this is the de facto Mario.
That
what-
is a
And
go
then if you
kart.
swipe
It's a go-kart.
one way, swipe the other way, and you can hold it down for the live, you could see him drive. He drives through. That's a crazy intersection too. At that one, going where you can go
Everybody
down into
thinks
the
it-
flats. You can go over the
yeah.
bridge, or you can go down on. I guess East 9th, right? That's East 9th.
Everybody thinks we're talking about
Or
the
East
Mark
4th.
Martin viral video. This is
No.
not that. This is
No.
like when
No.
you're in Mario Kart and the first car they give Mario, that's what this is.
That's it. Swings and things right down the street from me. That's what that is. Someone stole a go kart from like one of those places and just drove it around.
What the hell? You gonna stop me?
It's unreal,
I'm
man.
gonna ditch out of it, and my buddy will
How
come
do you
pick me
pull?
up.
How do you get pulled? Like you get pulled over, like license and registration.
We may or may not, back in my music
My
radio
God.
days, borrowed a golf cart from a golf course, and
Yeah.
the morning show stuntman did get arrested, and we had to.
Well,
The golf course got a lot of free advertising as a result of everything.
that's unbelievable.
But so I said,
That is
I was like,
that
I was stunned.
That blows my
at
mind.
a fun park.
Yeah, that is not a.
No.
That just can't be. I mean, you have to have. The birds do. When you threw me for the bird, though, that throws it for a loop because I don't know how they get around it. Because you can't be on the sidewalk. They want you on the street. Not
Right.
every place has a bike lane. There are no blinkers and are no licenses. So
Right.
how does that work?
It does, obviously. That's what I'm saying. Maybe it is street legal.
Oh, it's for sure not. I just don't know how. I think more of the birds are finding a way around it. The birds and the limes and all those things are finding a way around it more so than that is
I'm
legal.
saying this is high noon
Yeah, there's no way that's
downtown.
legal. There's
He's
zero
not,
chance.
but he wasn't trying to be discreet. There are cops everywhere downtown. He was going right by the casino. He turned off
That is 100% not street legal.
everybody on the
just no
sidewalk. All you see are people.
What the hell, man?
Yeah, it's a real conversation piece.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that wild?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
That,
that's why
that's a
I felt that was a fair thing to lead off.
I think
with.
it would be safer, like there's those mini motorcycles like those little like YZ80s or whatever, like that would be safer.
way safer
than
because
this
you have
apparatus.
more control and the ability to go.
Yes.
I think one way or the other,
Correct.
more quickly.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
this, like I could just see some just like.
Yeah.
Some 18-wheeler going by.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Like, that's
Toast.
a speed bump.
Would you even see it?
No.
How could you see the thing?
When I first
There's
turned
no way
around,
that's legal.
I first turned around and I didn't see it because I was looking.
Of course.
And then I went, "What the heck?" Because he was playing music, so he wasn't like trying to just silently zip around.
What's the
He was
age of
playing
this
music.
human?
He looked like a
An adult male.
adult male. Yes.
Wow.
Mid-20s or above.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, definitely.
Didn't
not
expect to
legal.
see it. I told
No, I
didn't
bet you
expect
did
it. Made my stop, my detour downtown certainly
Far more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no doubt.
Wow, that's amazing. It is a Mailbag Friday edition of the program.
So look out for that. If you're
Yeah,
driving
for
around
sure. Be
downtown,
careful.
You don't want to be the one that bops them.
So there's two running around. Then there's that one, and there's the cut guy.
I'd love to see that guy.
That guy, I'd love to see, man. And the Mark Martin
If
number
I saw
6.
him,
I would love to see that guy. That guy should have been a bigger deal. Like after that.
I don't know how he's not.
Yeah, that was. He
He should have
exciting.
started
By
like-
the way, the narrator also should have been a bigger deal because he
Yes.
was just perfect on that.
He
on
should
all
have
fronts.
been. He should have pace card
Yes.
a NASCAR race after
Well,
that.
or even like we have the IndyCar race down at Mid Ohio. Like he could go down at Mid Ohio and
yeah, pace card that.
pace car that out. Yeah, that's the way that should
Might be a
went.
slow pace. I don't
Yeah.
know how much.
Yeah,
I don't know how many
probably.
You
horses.
just take one lap,
I
and
don't
then
know-
like the regular pace car takes over. It's like a gradual.
It might take him an
speed
hour
up.
to go around Mid Ohio.
Yeah, I don't know how many.
You're
To
right.
be honest,
I don't
it
know
could
what the
take a while.
horsepower is in
I don't
it.
know. You take the governor off some of those.
You could really
You could
whip it
move
up
a little bit.
up to like 18 miles an hour. Tweet us your questions for the mailbag at Browns_Daily. You can ask us anything you'd like. We'll answer as many as we can at around 2:30. I was down in Dublin, Ohio yesterday for the Memorial Tournament, round
you
1
were.
at Jack's Place. It was awesome. It's an incredible. You've played the track. It's no question the most difficult golf course in Ohio.
Yes.
I think it's one of the most difficult golf
Hands down.
courses that anybody would ever play. Just from the setup of it, not difficult in the standpoint of for good golfers, the fairways are really wide, so there's a lot of room to land it. It's really a second shot golf course, and if you're not precise with your irons, you just have no chance to score. It was great to be there. It was great to see the Golden Bear bounding around. It was they're so good with their patrons and with the media and everybody down there. And I know you play the media out in Gibbe. They just treat everybody really well. And they handle it. It's just so first class.
Class act.
It does feel like a major.
Yeah.
The way that they handle it.
I really would love to play that course.
I don't know why we haven't.
I
You
don't
would
know.
be someone I would like to see do it because, and I've said before, I've played with Jack Nicklaus Jr. for 18. And I've played a few holes with Senior,
is awesome.
with the Bear at that place,
And with
I've-
Urban Meyer driving
I've
a
played
golf
with Urban
cart.
Meyer driving a golf court on the green, which
Yes.
is frowned upon.
as it should be.
As you could imagine. So I've seen great players. I've played with great players play that course, and a guy. One of the time, Jeff Logan was a longtime club pro there, and I played with him one time. And his view was like, if you're a 12 at Muirfield, you'd be a 22. It was like 10 shots is what it kind of was. What it felt like.
Yeah,
that's usually what my scorecard reflects.
About a 10
when I play there.
I've always been very lucky for it to be within 10. Typically, it's even exceeding that.
Usually,
I've never broke 100 there. Not close.
I would
and
love
I've probably
to play
played there a dozen times.
I'd love to play the tour setup and see if I could break 90.
Well, and that's what the media day is.
I think. Yeah, you get
2 or 3
set up.
weeks out.
You do get tours. So what they make you do at the media, you play 2 weeks out. They make you play. They pick a different one every year. So one year you have to play all the par threes from the tips. One year you have to play all the fours, and then the one year we play the fives. So, but they don't make you play them all from the tips all the time. I think probably it would take too damn long, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But even Steph Curry in the Pro-Am down there on Wednesday, he didn't play from the tips, and he was like, "I played from the tips last year," and I'm like, and it was no fun. So he played member tees on Wednesday in the Pro-Am.
From the member tees, I feel pretty confident I would be able to shoot a decent number.
Yeah, I would imagine you'd be. I mean, you're like in the 70s all the time here. I would say that you'd probably be. I mean, I've seen you. You're very good. I would assume you'd be around 80.
Yeah, I would like to be on the
Would
tour
make sense.
setup. Though that's the thing. That's what's amazing is how much better they are than a normal scratch or a 1. How much better these tour guys are. That's where the difference shows up.
It's a 10 shot thing, probably.
Yeah.
With those guys in like a scratch or a 1 or whatever, it's probably that much of a difference. I think what beats you up there is and I haven't played Firestone South.
Yeah.
That's just really long, right?
Long
That's
and
the
narrow.
operation and narrow. What is a little shocking about Muirfield is it's the undulation. It's incredibly hilly, and it gets you. You kind of are walking up and you don't realize it the whole time on the front, and then you go down, and then you got a big walk up to 10, and then 10 is a down and an up, and then it's kind of up again all the way and then back. And so you're constantly going up and down hills.
I walked
and you're
it once,
walking.
yeah.
And
Looks
it's like,
intense.
and you're like, so you're mentally fried from the fact that every second shot is brutal, and then you're physically kind of smoked too.
And the other thing is, like, how many people, being honest with themselves, like with my handicap, and I'm always playing games with my buddy, like how many people actually put the ball in the hole on every single hole? Now, a lot of my second putts are literally tap-ins, but when all of a sudden you have to put the ball in the hole 18 times on greens like that you don't know, that are probably lightning fast.
From a foot away.
That changes that changes
right.
everything. That changes everything.
Yeah. It's if you miss green, if you don't hold greens or you miss greens, I've at one time on 14, which is the short little like over the water par 4 that you lay up and then you kind of hit it up. Very narrow green.
And then there's a par 5 right after that.
Par 5 goes uphill after it. Although he's changed it a lot. He added water. He took the hill out of that, but he put like a creek in it. He's changed the course a lot. He's done it for the long hitters. Like that's the challenge. Like he's trying to make a place that's challenging for them, but also that his membership can enjoy.
So now on
that's
15,
tricky.
you don't tee up over a hill anymore. It's more.
You can just see it.
Okay.
You can see where you're going. Whereas in the old days,
It
from
was
the
blind
tips,
up
you
the
couldn't
hill.
see. You just tried to hit to the top of the hill, and then you hope for the best looking over. And if you didn't make the hill, which I never did, if you didn't make the hill, then the second shot was totally blind to nowhere, and you'd have
you needed the caddy to walk ahead.
Yeah, and be
to
like,
run ahead.
This is going here.
Yeah.
Where do I aim?
That's why I can't believe that. Didn't Lingermuth win one year there?
Yeah.
Which is stunning. 'Cause
Well,
he doesn't hit the ball very far.
Well, but it's again though, it's the second shot.
Yeah.
It's really, can you hold the green? So like on 14 one time, I was on in 2, but the pin was where they put it on Sunday, so it was down onto the right
That
side.
front right. Yeah.
Front right.
That's the hole I sat on when we were there.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's the most fun you can have there is that
Well,
hole.
you
There's
saw
a
some
lot
good
going
shots
on.
where you could see people spinning off into the water.
Yeah,
all
and you can
kinds of-
see like the whole approach to the hole on that
Totally,
one. It's one of
yeah.
the few places where you can see kind of everything that's not a par 3. And I putted it off because I was above the hole, and it was so fast going down that I putted it off. And then now you're down and you're trying to chip up, and I don't have that in my game to do that. I don't have that. And there's no Texas wedges out there because the rough's 18 feet long. So you're done. You're cooked.
Yeah,
So what was putting for birdie ended up like a 7. It's like, well, that was fun. I'm glad I did that.
Let's go to the next hole.
Let's go
Well,
to
listen,
15 and
where's
be
the
bludgeoned.
beverage
We're going to get you in better positions. Mike Dixon.
Perfect segue.
The pro sent us our
the
lag
people.
masters. So now
I
we're
can't
going
wait
to
to
be
use this.
put it up. The lag master. We're going to maintain
Official
that leg
teaching
so
pro.
you can release those hands and put a real stripe on the ball. And it also will help you get your backswing on the proper plane. So I'm actually excited to check that out. So
Yeah,
basically,
I'm going to do it. I'm going to give it a shot this
if
weekend. I'm
people
excited
are
about this.
interested, so he is the official teaching pro of the show.
That's correct. That's correct.
And this is a person who has been at places such as Congressional and things like that. So he is as legit as it gets. And now he's in the golf. Obviously, he's a teaching pro, but he's also now trying to help people. You go Lag Shot Golf. Is that right? Is that the right one? I hope so. Nope, that's the wrong one. It's all right. Ignore
pull it
that.
up right here.
Lagmaster. Lagmaster Sports on Instagram. Lagmaster Sports on Tour. It's awesome. And I watch all his videos. You can follow him on at Mike Dixon Golf as well.
Yeah.
We got the QR code there.
Yeah, we do.
But it's
Legmaster Sports.
Lagmaster Sports.
Great logo, great
Yes.
gear, and I'm looking forward to trying it. I like it. I'm going to put it on the boys, see if they can sort it out as well. That's a good job.
Yeah, so he's on Instagram, at Lagmaster Sports on Instagram. That's where you need to go, and you'll be able to find everything that you need there. It's really cool.
It is, and the idea of it makes a lot of damn sense to somebody like me who sucks. So that's
It's going to get you on plane, and then
Yeah.
he's going to teach you how to load the power, because that's the whole thing. When you cast coming down, you lose all your power. You've got to drop, so he's going to have you maintain that angle, maintain that lag. So, boom, then you can
boom.
start hitting bombs.
Hit some bombs, baby.
Next year, I'm going to commentate. You're going to go on number 3, and you're going to hit it right on the green.
What I was thinking though is like we really should. We should play the media day.
Dude, I would
This
love
show
it.
should play the media day.
Tom Sprouse.
Saw him yesterday.
Tommy.
Tommy's my guy, man.
Well,
He's my guy.
I feel
We,
like
we could put Tom on. We could promote it.
I don't even think he'd care. He'd be so excited to see us. I think we'd be safe, pal.
I would.
But I think it would
we
be fun.
we should
it'd
take
be
the
fun
day.
to go down there on a. That's usually on a Monday. It's on a Monday, typically. Is when that day
No. Are you sure?
is. Monday or Tuesday.
I was going to
It's
say.
early in the week.
Because there were a couple of years where I'm like, I want to just. I went down like the night before. Like we stayed the night before, just because it's an early morning and
Yeah.
you get free range of the entire course. Dude. Like you can go to the practice range starting at 7 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
and they're giving you Bridgestones to practice with. And
their
you're
range
like,
is
okay.
absurd.
It
They're
is crazy
ridiculous.
good.
Yeah.
And like their pros are out there. They're giving you tips. Like you're playing out of the sand. They're like, oh, do this different. It's like a free lesson that morning. So we would go like the morning or the night before. And then it got to the point where I'm like, I don't want to go the night before. He goes, I need to rest like after we get done playing.
Right.
I'm so exhausted. I don't want to drive 2 hours back home. I'm staying over that night.
They historically had the best media gifts too. Like at one point, like it was a driver.
what?
Like you'd give you a
Dude.
driver, they give you wedges.
Yes.
Like you'd go get fitted for wedges,
Shoes.
putters, shoes.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
pretty ridiculous setup.
I think every year that I played, it was a hat and a polo, and then like a credit for the the pro shop.
Yeah.
And it was like $100 credit. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it wins. It wins. It's great.
Let's do this. Can we?
Yeah,
let's-
I think we can get that done for next
I think
year.
we should do
let's,
it.
Let's put that in the plans. Did you guys watch any of the finals last night?
I watched a few minutes, and it felt to me like I was watching varsity JV, and it's amazing to me how the Heat role players. That Caleb Mark guy was so good, couldn't make a shot.
Yeah.
What was the guy, Strauss? Literally didn't make a shot.
No.
It just felt Jokic is on
Does it feel over?
It feels over.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not good.
I thought it was over before it started.
So did
This
I, but, like-
ABC and ESPN are like, ruh-roh.
They
Yeah.
coasted.
How we
that
making
wasn't
this-
even. They could.
Dude, they outscored them by 10 in the fourth, and they still won by 11. I got an alert. I bailed on it. And I got an alert on my phone that the Heat went on an 11-0 run. By the time I got back to it, they were down 18. It's like,
It felt like if they wanted to win the game by 30, they
Could've.
could have. They just didn't. They wanted to win. A win's a
Yeah.
win. You don't get two wins for a 30-point win.
and it feels like they are set up to do this a little bit for a while. Because the rest of the West has gotten old in a hurry. Golden State got old in a hurry. The Lakers are what the Lakers are. They made it like one more run, but like they're going to have to try to really improve that roster to be able to hang with those cats. And there's nobody else in the West that's on the ascent.
Well, Porter Jr. is a great player. And
He was the number one high school basketball player in the country.
Yes.
He was going to Washington, then he ended up going to Missouri, hurt his back, and that's the only reason that he was drafted where he was, because people didn't know if he could ever actually play.
Yes, he can.
Yeah.
And Aaron Gordon is just
He was a beast.
an athlete for them is unreal. Yeah, and he didn't miss his shots. He can shoot it if he needs to. He can dunk on you. He can
was at
rebound. He was
Arizona.
Arizona. He
Was
was
Porter a Cavalier?
No,
No,
that's
the Nuggets drafted him.
You're thinking of Kevin Porter, maybe.
I don't know.
There was another. There
Not
was
Michael
he
Porter
was
Jr.
he was
Michael
a little
Porter Jr. is
bit
like
of a
6'10", 6'11".
Michael Porter Jr. Yeah.
Thank you.
Michael Porter Jr.
I've had some great pools.
You have.
Michael Porter Jr. was the number one high school player in the country. His dad was one of those package deals where the dad was going to be an assistant, and so he was originally committed to Washington, then ended up at Missouri. Oddly enough,
Washington.
right? But remember Ben Simmons went to LSU, like Cade Cunningham went to Oklahoma State. Like it was those kind of off the radar places that were able to like hire their buddies or their dads or AAU coaches or whatever.
Yeah.
So they ended up in those places. But then he heard there was talk that like something in the lead up to the draft where it was like, I'll never forget him on draft night, like kept falling. And it was this fear that his back, that he would never be able to play. But he's just fine. The other thing we forgot about, I think, we talked so much about Jokic, like Jamal Murray's a dude. So there's that part of it too. Like he hasn't really played in 18 months because he missed a whole season. So this is his first year back, but the injury happened in the previous season. And you forget like how good he is. He's legit. So they've got those two who can initiate offense, and then all these 6'10" role players
Can just shoot it, can rebound, can run, can dunk it.
Yeah.
Well, and Murray, I thought when in the game 3, wasn't it game 3 against the Lakers when he didn't miss a shot in the fourth quarter, and it was like, okay.
He had a stretch between the last two games of that series in 4 quarters where he had scored like 53 points or something like that.
And they were not all easy. They were like some step back
bombs
in the face of LeBron threes. Yeah. No, this series is over.
It's done.
Great run by the Heat.
Awesome.
Incredible run.
Yeah, absolutely.
And look, the Bucks were banged up. Giannis gets hurt, so that helped them.
Then
the
they get
Cavs
the
should have
Knicks.
beaten the Heat. They get the Knicks.
Right.
Or Cavs should beat the Knicks. They get the Knicks. Okay. Celtics are not.
Choked.
I mean,
They
don't.
They got down 3-0.
They don't have.
Bad job out of them.
Yeah.
And it's weird. It just feels like they don't have much fortitude. Like Tatum needs to have, and Marcus Smart is all for it. So take Marcus Smart out of it, and even Horford, I think. But like Tatum's other guy, I think needs to be a little more than Jaylen Brown.
I think they think that too, and I think they've tried to find somebody other than that. They tried putting him in the Durant deal when they were trying to put that together. I think they've tried to find somebody else for it, but yeah, I think it's probably cooked. Do we want to do final day of OTAs observations in a second? Fair?
Yeah.
Do you want to get into that right now?
No, you don't have to. By the way, Stan Kroenke, owner,
Yeah.
sports team owner, not my favorite guy, especially because he took the Rams out of St. Louis, and I know many people dislike him.
Sure.
But he built Staples.
He is the owner of the Rams.
That's right.
He's the owner of the Nuggets.
Yeah.
He's the owner of the Avalanche.
They won it last year.
Yeah. He's won an MLS Cup with the Rapids.
Yeah, Colorado Rapids.
And
I
then
called Staples.
he
What's
is the National Lacrosse League championship owner.
Oh, there you go. He also owns.
Those guys won a
what's the
championship and
stadium?
everything.
He used
In
to
LA?
own Arsenal, didn't he?
Yes.
The Premier League team.
Yes.
Why am I blanking on the name?
SoFi.
SoFi. Thank you. I knew it was an S.
SoFi.
Yeah. Didn't he build that?
He did. Yeah.
Yes.
Out of pocket. I got that. So not only does he have his money, he also owns the Wagoneer Ranch. This is one of the big ranches. Remember the Yellowstone, the 4 Sixes and all that?
Yeah.
He bought the Wagoneer Ranch, which is there are 3 giant ranches in Texas historically. 4 Sixes, King Ranch, Wagoneer. He bought Wagoneer Ranch. He also bought an enormous ranch in Montana outside of Augusta, which I want to say the Broken O, and is married to Walmart heiress.
Yeah.
So
And Kroenke.
just in case all of his acumen fails him, pretty good backstop.
Kind
There's only so far you can slide when you're in that situation. I remember 3 saying that he almost never saw him when he was with the Rams. Like he was
Sounds
always
about right.
polite when he saw him, but he almost never saw him. And he's a Missouri guy too. He's a Missouri
he
guy. He
backstabbed that city pretty hard.
Yeah, he did. That was such a tricky spot. I mean,
Yes.
that's such a tricky spot. Like that team there. Tough one. I heard you guys yesterday talking about the news of Jim, and I just wanted to share something on that front as well. When I met when I met my wife, and among the first conversations I had was with her father, was about what I did, and he said, "You got to find a way to talk to Jim Donovan. He's the best. He's the best you'll ever find. You got to find that."
Yep.
And I obviously knew who Jim was, but I wasn't from here, so I didn't know it all that well. And I didn't think about it much. I was down in Columbus at the time, but obviously was always aware. And for my father-in-law, listening to Jim, he's the guy who brings the radio to the games, had season tickets forever, but it was Jim's voice in his ear for all the years. I mean, that's the way that he did it. And it was in 2015, you guys came down to Ohio Stadium and did a practice in August of 2015. Pryor's first
Terrell
came
Pryor.
back, all of that.
Yeah.
And I was on television in Columbus at the time, and I was doing some live shots around it and in the local news. And Jim came walking up to me and said, "You're Beau, right?" And I go, "Yeah." Surprised that he knew who I was. And he said, "I got to tell you, I really like that Buckeye show that you do on Sportstime Ohio, Buckeye Blitz, which we used to do, that used to air on Sportstime Ohio."
I got to tell you, that's exactly what he would have said.
Yeah.
I got to tell you.
That's the exact quote. I got to tell you. And we talked for maybe 15 minutes. I never felt bigger in my career than that moment when he did that, like that type of grace. And the joy that I have every time that he comes on with us, it's hard to measure. Yeah. I love asking him about what's going on on the Ponderosa with the ponies. He likes that. We've talked off air about how that was something we just stumbled onto, but we've talked off air about how people come up to him about that, which I just think is just classic, how that's been. He's the voice.
Yes.
He is the voice. Yeah. And he means a great deal. You guys were so articulate yesterday, and he was on with us last week. I didn't know at the time.
Me neither.
And so it hit hard, but I thought the way Jimmy handled it, the way he did what he did on Channel 3, man, my heart is so full for that man and his family, and there's not a single doubt in my mind he'll be doing what he loves to do again, what he was born to do. As soon as it's just all there. He's the best. He's one of those guys that, like, you hear a lot about a guy, and this is a guy that, like, the first time I met my father-in-law, he said, "You got to get to know Jim Donovan. Like, that's the guy you got to try to be." And then the idea that I've gotten to know him and that all of this stuff has happened, it's surreal, and that he's even a better person than what you've been told. So
absolutely,
he's the best.
He's already sent me a text. He's like, "I'll see you next week."
Yeah, he's
like,
he'll be out here.
Well, like, just take. No, I'll see you next week.
Yeah,
got it. Sounds good.
You know,
whatever you need.
You got it. The thing about it is when you're in. My mom had leukemia, and the thing that what she sought out, and my guess is what Jimmy is seeking out, is normalcy.
Yep.
So you just want to do the things you do. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you don't want people wallowing in pity and all of that. Like, you take it, you tackle it, and you go, and that's the best way to deal with it. And so that's not at all surprising that that's how Jimmy would handle it, the voice. An absolute legend. We will go over the final day of OTAs. Minicamp is coming up next. We've got some media news as well. As I mentioned, it is a Mailbag Friday edition of the program. Tweet those questions to Gibbe at Browns_Daily. We'll get to those in the 2 o'clock hour. We're off and running on a Friday edition. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Cleveland Browns 2023 schedule is here. Get your single game tickets now for all the great matches at Cleveland Browns Stadium. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/tickets to purchase today. Final day of OTAs is in the books. Minicamp next week. Just from the videos and the stuff that our incredible video team is putting out, this has been fun, man.
It's been a lot of fun, and it's been a passing camp, and you're seeing a quarterback in Deshaun Watson who looks light years ahead of where he was a year ago. So confident, so comfortable throwing the ball. He's had some great days. You're seeing a receiving core that has been overhauled, and we talked yesterday about Amari Cooper getting back into the mix a little bit more, and I think we'll see Amari at the minicamp. Maybe get involved even in the 7-on-7. So that, I think, is exciting. We'll get the Chief for the first time at those, Nick Chubb for the first time at those. But this is an offense that's got some weapons. I go back to MJ Emerson's face when I said, can you tell the offense is a little bit different? And that smile, I think, said it all. So been a lot of fun. And then obviously Jim Schwartz out there in this defense. They are ball seeking. They are playing tighter coverage. They know that they're going to have a rush that's going to get home. So it's been good. I mean, again, this is the OTAs. This is helmets on air. This is not pads.
Yeah.
But from a passing camp standpoint, I think you're very pleased with Deshaun Watson. And then the guy that I think has really made an impression is Dorian Thompson-Robinson. And we're going to get a lot of look at him, this preseason. You get that extra preseason
This will be
game.
fun.
And I'm kind of excited
That makes the Hoff game
see
fun,
him.
right?
I
Like
agree.
If that's him for 3 quarters.
Yeah, him and Tillman. And listen, Kellen Mond's fighting for his NFL life. And, I think that you wouldn't say the writing is on the wall. He obviously has a chance to compete. But, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, I think, has a real shot to stick here and has impressed everybody thus far. And so, people are going to – there are going to be quality players. Let me phrase it differently. There will be very quality players that will get a lot of opportunity in those games, whether it be the Hall of Fame game, whether it be the second preseason game, or maybe even the final, depending on how they approach these preseason games, who are going to have opportunities to make this football team or put out quality tape that enables them to make another football team. I think all of those things will be available, and I think that's what makes those games a little bit more interesting, a little more fun.
They're going to be really good football players who don't make this team.
Yes.
That's just the reality of it.
That is the reality
of the situation that you're in. Yeah, and I understand the fan base's perspective of like, okay, yeah, great, wake us up when they count. I understand it.
Totally.
It's fair.
It's all about prove it.
It's prove it, absolutely. But you cannot help but see, and none of you guys can be out here. We see that. But if you follow us on the socials and you see these videos that are put up of Deshaun Watson throwing a football, not just from our team, but from the media that is here, he is dialed in, man.
Well, you're going to hear from Alex Van Pelt coming up in a few minutes.
Yeah.
And I think Coach has done a good job of tempering expectations and saying, we're throwing on air, and it's Alex Van Pelt was asked, he goes, tenfold difference.
Yeah.
From last year to this year.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
you can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is readily apparent. It is readily apparent. And that is obviously a very good thing for us.
It's something that everything that and Deshaun was the first to admit it. He was asked at the golf outing on Monday about it, and he said, look, I guess we'll find out in September. That's the way it's going to go. And that's fine. Everybody understands that. But just his arm talent is something that, we didn't talk about a lot of this stuff, last year.
And
the
you
lead
saw
up to
it, though.
But
You
it was
saw
all there.
it. You saw it on the throw to DPJ against Cincinnati when DPJ said that ball caught him. You saw it on the back shoulder throw to the Chief against the Commanders. You saw it on the far hash deep out on the far sideline to Amari Cooper, one against the Commanders, one against the Baltimore Ravens. You saw it on the deep over to Amari against the Steelers. I mean, he made throws that were very different than anything that we had seen here. And he's going to make more of those this year. And, and that kind of leads into the question of, well, we've talked about this being completely overhauled, passing attack. We would be remiss if we did not note that in all the sports books, all of a sudden, the Browns are the favorite to land DeAndre Hopkins. We have talked about it a lot. I said that I would be more surprised if he is a Brown than if he is not. I still believe that, but I think what's happened is the reason that we're still talking about this is mainly, first and foremost, nobody has come forward and offered him the money that he wanted. Had that happened, he would have signed somewhere. So,
yes. Because he to me at this point in his career, he would be the cherry on the top of a sundae of a good team.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Sunday's really good without the cherry, but then you like that at the top. That's what Hopkins would be on a good team. So, like, the teams that have cap space, he might not have any interest in being a part of it, and they might not have any interest in a 30-year-old receiver. So it's a smaller window of interest than it would have been if you were 26, obviously. So that, I think, contributes to it very much as well.
Yeah, and we know that the Chiefs and the Bills were interested and engaged in trade talks with the Arizona Cardinals. But so the Odell contract that we talked about was going to be a sticking point and make this more difficult. But at some point, your value is only what?
I mean, Vegas seems to be trending
To the Browns are the favorite right now,
Yeah.
heavily. So
Yeah, in the last 2 hours, it's
switched.
switched.
So here's what I'll reiterate what I have said all week and what I believe firmly. 1, the Browns are a better team with DeAndre Hopkins on it. Okay, number 1, weapons galore. Number 2, DeAndre Hopkins is not the same guy that he was early in his career, but even at that point early in his career, he was never the big play vertical threat. He's an incredibly physical receiver, an incredibly talented route runner, an insane catch radius. He is deadly against zone. He is excellent in the red zone. He is a chain mover extraordinaire, and he is every quarterback's best friend. Well, it so happens that our quarterback and he together produced over a 3-year period over 300 catches, over 3,000 yards, and countless touchdowns. So does it make sense? Yes. Financially, I thought the hurdle was going to be what he was initially asking for. Now that it is clear, or it feels like it's clear to him, that doesn't exist out there, and every day that goes by that he hasn't signed makes it feel more and more likely that it is true, in fact, that the financial situation he was seeking doesn't exist. Then it comes down to, okay, DeAndre, what do you want? And so the question would be, or the likely answers to that are twofold, right? 1, I want to have a chance to win a Super Bowl. 2, I want to put myself in a position where I feel very confident that I will succeed so that after this year, I am able to then go out and make more money. So let's look at it from his standpoint. Some of the teams that we thought were good fits. Now, Dallas has basically said they're out. Mike McCarthy said, I like our room, not interested. The Jets apparently are not interested. Buffalo, I think, makes a ton of sense for him. Kansas City makes a ton of sense for him. I think Miami makes a lot of sense from the Super Bowl standpoint, maybe not the numbers. I just don't think that there's a way that he, Waddle, and Hill all could get fed. Do you agree with that?
I have no problem with that.
So then it becomes, and then let's take us. He knows Deshaun. Deshaun knows him. It is likely that in some of those tough moments, perhaps on third downs, Deshaun will be looking his way. He will still very much have an opportunity to prove his worth, and he would feel comfortable. So does that trump the money situation? And if the money situation really isn't there, then that probably is what it comes down to. So I think that it is now, while I still think that it is more likely he'd end up somewhere else, I think it is more likely today that he is a Brown than it was earlier when the Browns, I felt, were not willing to meet his asking price. So if he's willing to severely alter what his price target is, then I think the Browns very much would be in play. And then, can you have too many weapons? No, but let's be honest about it. There isn't room most likely
He's
for...
going to play.
Yes. Amari, DeAndre Hopkins, Elijah Moore, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Marquise Goodwin, Cedric Tillman. That would be 6 right there.
Yeah.
And it'd feel pretty good about all 6 because Marquise Goodwin has a unique skill set. He will be here.
Oh, yeah.
So it becomes... It's interesting. Now, the Browns could do it. You drafted Cedric Tillman to be an ascending player down the line, next year even, as early as next year. So I do think it is more real. Every day that goes by where he doesn't sign somewhere else, obviously it sounds like a dumb thing to say, but why I say it means better for the Browns is because money, I think, is the biggest hurdle that keeps him from being a Cleveland Brown. Knowing that he has, at this point in his career, not a complete 100% ubiquitous number 1 wide receiver skill set, but still is elite at some of the things he does, that they weren't going to pay that kind of money. And my guess is if they wanted to drop money, it was going to be on the defensive line. But now there could be a world that exists where the Browns could get DeAndre Hopkins on a cheap deal, maybe with some incentives.
Yep.
He's out after 1 year. He's able to go wherever he wants. It's a rental. And then also rent an Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah.
And say, okay, we're really in this year. But also
Every chip
But also
into the
knowing,
middle,
but also knowing that you have succession planning in the
Oh, yeah,
receiver
yeah.
room
Yeah.
with
Well, that's
Elijah
AB.
Moore,
That's Paul
and
and
with
AB. That's how they
Cedric
roll.
Tillman. You've got succession planning in the defensive tackle room. With Perrion Winfrey and drafting Siaki Ika this year. So it all could work. So I do think it is more likely now than I did earlier in the week, but that is because the market isn't bearing for DeAndre Hopkins what he had hoped initially that it would bear.
And it is stupefying if he ends up getting less than Odell Beckham Jr. That is a stupefying thing, but that might end up being what happens. That is one of that was crazy in the moment.
Un-Ravens like.
Yeah, very. One other thing on this.
Yep.
Let's also not discount that how comfortable Watson would. I mean, you're just enhancing his comfortability.
Yes.
Right? Like, this is one of his oldest friends. They've had their best years together.
Yep.
This is somebody he trusts. He knows exactly where he's going to be,
Yes.
exactly where he's going to be at. There would be no catching up, right?
And
you would be on the same page at Jump Street, and there's real value in that. So it would be crazy if it happens, but it would be the odds. The idea that we're the betting favorite is pretty damn cool, quite frankly. That would be pretty sweet to see him out there.
The fact of the matter is we are linked to Deshaun Watson.
Period.
He is the franchise, and this season feels like one of great importance for a lot of people in this organization who have hitched their wagons to Deshaun Watson, and so putting him in the best position to succeed is of paramount
It's
importance.
all that matters.
And by the way, they've done that.
That's
why you
they've
go
done
get
it already.
Elijah Moore. That's why
that's what I said. That's why you got. This is the cherry.
Yes, this would be.
You've already built a hell of a sundae.
Yes,
a sunday's great without a cherry, but this is just one more little treat on top. That's all it would be.
He loves Amari. He loves Donovan Peoples-Jones. He's been thrilled with Elijah Moore, and thinks Elijah Moore has superstar potential. And obviously, Marquise Goodwin has given some Will Fuller vibes running down the field, catching those bombs from him. So it's there. But DeAndre Hopkins again. We've always said we are better with DeAndre Hopkins. Does it mean that it's going to happen? No. But the fact that the market hasn't given DeAndre what he wants puts us, I think, in a much better position than we would have been if it came down to finances, because I don't think Andrew Berry, knowing him the way that I do, was going to play that game.
I would also say this, and this is something, you talked about, we are married to Deshaun Watson for a long, long haul here. There will be at least two different Cleveland Browns with Deshaun Watson.
Yes.
There will be this current roster of players, and this current roster of players, to me, feels like this is a max out this year, next year. Even next year, we're going to look very different than we do this year. So there's like this window we're in right now. There will be a second team, a second, hopefully, championship caliber quality team that is built around Watson 4 years from now.
Yes.
That's what Kansas City has done. Kansas City had the Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce run. They maxed it out with the Super Bowl. Then now, last year's Super Bowl for them was a bonus, baby. That was the transition to the
all
second
rookie
run.
Corners,
Yeah, they were
Honey
transitioning.
Badger, those teams,
Right. So they transitioned into the second Mahomes run, and they may even have a third Mahomes run because he's young enough that could play out, that they could have three different kind of rosters all built around him, and we could have the same thing with Deshaun. The only difference is we didn't have him from the time he was drafted, so you might not have as many incarnations, but we're in one right now that feels like it's maxing out. His offensive coordinator is Alex Van Pelt. You will hear from him coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. four-legged companion. Barking Backers, presented by Milkbone, the Browns' newest club for pet parents worldwide. Sign up today at barkingbackers.com. Barking Backers, the fan club for dogs. Now to the podium, our offensive coordinator, Alex Van Pelt.
You excited about the first week of training camp?
I am.
God's country?
I am. That's beautiful down there. I've actually never been.
You guys are down.
Or from my dad's house, so I'm going to get to see him during that time as well. But heard great things about it. Excited to get away with the team and do some bonding. I think it's gone well, really. I think we had two explosives today where we stretched the field, bringing in Marquise. And Elijah has been a boost to that room with their playmaking ability and their speed down the field. Just getting a feel for those guys right now and their timing and their pass routes. That's the big part, but impressive. We hit a couple deep balls today that we've circled that as an area of improvement, and we showed up today, so that's a good start.
Yeah, he missed those last week, didn't he, AVP?
We did, and he did, and we're going to keep pushing those balls down the field. It's something we've talked about. Keep throwing them so we all get on the same page.
What does Elijah give? I mean, what makes him so unique as a weapon you can use?
He has great flexibility, inside and outside flexibility. He can run individual routes outside and win out there. He can come into the slot and has the twitch to win in the slot as well. He has excellent hands and a good feel for the game. So really a complete receiver that can play both inside and out.
Yesterday, Deshaun talked about building back the confidence, right, that he had before and then the time off, kind of ate away at it a little bit. Can you see evidence of that's grown this year?
Absolutely. There's no question. It's just his confidence in the system itself, understanding of what we're asking of him, and how to communicate at the line of scrimmage, everything from protections to calling plays in the huddle. He's improved tenfold since this time last year. And then he made a throw today I haven't seen. I got hair stood up on my arm. He dotted a touchdown in the red zone that was really, really an impressive throw. So, I mean, you've seen it all start to come together. Playing with a little swagger out there and having some fun.
Was that the throw to Elijah?
Yeah, it was a throw to Elijah down in the seam route. That was over the hook player and right on the face mask. So that was a throw that degree of difficulty would have been high, and he smoked it. So that's positive.
Has your hair stood up on your arms on any other ones? Or
It's not. It's been a long time. I will say that. And I've been around some good ones, but that was one that literally was got goosebumps. I was like, wow, that was a tremendous throw and catch.
Everything you need now to run whatever you want to run. There are no limitations on Deshaun, and now he's got
Yeah, I do. I feel like we've added great pieces. AB and the crew upstairs have given us some pieces, some more weapons. Being able to bring Posick back at that center spot, that was a huge lift for the coaching staff as well as the players to have that continuity up front. And then the experience and the level of play of that offensive line is really impressive. And then you add Nick to the mix in the backfield, and you get Deshaun out there on the edge with the pass catchers. It's positive. We've got a lot of work to do. We know that. We're not there yet. We'll still learn and grow, but excited about what the future could be.
When you talk about the emphasis on the deep ball, obviously Elijah's a part of that, and then Marquise will make a couple of those get deep. Just how much was that a focus for you going from last year to this year, saying that's something that needed to be addressed?
Yeah, I mean, as all coaching staffs, you go through your scheme evaluation, and that was an area we got to be more explosive in the pass game. How can we get that done? Maybe some route combinations we change up or put some different people in those spots, but definitely something we've highlighted as an area that we want to improve in.
And what does Marquise specifically kind of let you do in that area?
Well, his speed down the field is world class. So, a safety that may feel like he's deep may not be deep enough that he can run by. That's one of the areas where I think he'll help us there, stretching the field, taking the top off, and if they don't respect it, being able to make the play down the field for a big explosive.
Obviously, you know what Nick Chubb's going to give you, but behind Nick, you've got a lot of young guys. Just, I guess, where are you at with those young guys?
Sure.
How do you feel that they will be able to step into that number 2 running back role?
Sure. I mean, there's a spot there. There's an opportunity for somebody to step up at this time. Jerome has done a nice job when he's had his opportunities. He's doing a great job in his protections. John Kelly just makes plays on the scout team when he gets in there, so there's great competition there. Then Felton, adding him back in the room with his flexibility to work out of the backfield. I feel like we have a good mix of different types of players that could all play roles for us.
Where does Dimitri fit?
Yes. Yes. Right there.
He's the first couple of years he spent most of his time with the receivers.
Right.
So I guess I'm just wondering, how does he fit into the mix with a crowded receiver room and a crowded young running back room?
Well, it's an opportunity for him to expand as a player. Really, I mean, we know what he can do at receiver, and he's good in that role as well, and has had success for us. We haven't handed him too many balls in the past, but he came out as a running back, so I know he has that skill set in him as well. And then his ability to come out of the backfield and run routes as a slash player is an area I think he could help us.
Could you find some things for D-Hop to do if you guys end up with D-Hop?
Yeah, well, I'm sure we could find something for him to do. We'll see what happens down the road. That's a question for those guys upstairs. Again, can't tell you how happy I am with what they've already added to us. So.
Has Deshaun been in your ear about it, though? Hey, can you?
He's talking to the wrong guy if he's talking to me about it.
Sticking here with Amari, just what did you learn about him over the last year
Sure.
that you maybe didn't know when he was elsewhere?
I didn't know how good he really was. Just watching the tape until I saw it live and watch the way he comes off the football, his ability to run every route in the book. He's a true route runner with great explosion. You watch early in the season before he was injured, it was hard to cover, really hard to cover. So just excited to get him healthy and back to full speed.
A lot of guys that would have tapped out with that kind of injury.
Absolutely.
What does that say about him?
That's just toughness. It's a culture of this place. Everybody just works. We're here for each other. The players believe in each other and don't want to let each other down. And him playing through injury and grimacing, running down the field on touchdown receptions, that's something to see. It means a lot to the players in that locker room. Certainly means a lot to the coaching staff and the guys that get to work with them, and it's greatly appreciated.
I'm going to ask you about the variety of the offense. Given that you had Deshaun now for a full season, how different do you think it'll look, whether systematically or even philosophically,
Sure.
just when you have a quarterback like that?
Well, it opens up a whole lot in the run game, especially.
30 fellas.
The gun runs will be more, seen more than we have in the past in the under center play, but we obviously know we can get under center and run the football with our scheme as well as our players. So it's finding that balance of how often are we under, how often are we in the gun, and then, how often do we really want to use Deshaun in the run game as a runner. True.
10 seconds.
That stuff will work out through camp and, get it
5.
as we go into the season, but it does give us a lot of opportunity, a lot of different schemes in football.
You're up.
Oh, it's going to be fun. Great hearing from AVP. It is a Mailbag Friday edition of the program. Tweet your questions to Gibbe at Browns_daily using the hashtag. Well, what do we got? Do we have a hashtag? AskCBD or no hashtag? Just direct. Because the hashtags aren't working all the time now. Have you noticed that?
Correct. You mentioned that to me, and
They're
I
not.
went and looked, and we're not doing that.
Yeah, they're not working. You have to go tweet directly.
Hey, you're not on.
Thanks.
I thought he was just going to
Hashtags are out.
Hashtags
are out.
So
Yeah.
apparently it was my microphone. No big deal.
Yeah, no big. Well,
Well,
it's probably mostly on me because that was typically a go right to break situation, and then I decided to ask a question.
Fair.
I'll take it.
No, fair.
I don't
I'll take
turn,
it.
I
Fair.
don't turn you up until I have to because you start fumbling with the mic and you do a couple
And
other
then
things.
just unprovoked attack. An unprovoked attack on a Friday.
I wouldn't
Little-
expect anything less.
Little better or worse.
I bring him a nice portable grill today.
You did.
which I appreciate.
Engraved
nice.
with the Browns
Oh, we
logo.
got and the other gifts too. We've got
Oh, yeah.
spirits and hats from
The Graceful Ordinary, my good friend, the
Fantastic.
chef, the official chef
like
of the
that
show.
official
name.
chef.
Chris
I love
Curran.
that name.
Yeah, the hats are unbelievable.
When
The
are we
hats
back
are
in? When are we
amazing.
back in Chi-Town?
I don't know. They come here this year.
They were
Sad.
here 2 years ago
I know.
when they tried to end Justin Fields' career
9 sacks.
of their own doing.
Right?
Here,
Could
kid.
use a repeat of that.
Here, kid. Good
I
luck.
remember being on the sidelines with one of their coaches who used to be one of our coaches, and you felt like that there was a sense of impending doom in that game. They're just like,
I mean, it was
yeah, I don't think this
it
is
was
gonna
a Beastie Boys song, buddy.
Yeah.
Is what it was.
Not great.
It was sabotage. We'll do a little.
Or ill communication.
Both work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, shout out to them.
It's
We got other gear that came in too.
We did. Oh yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Well,
from-
that was.
Oh,
I'm
people-
embarrassed about how
people-
long I held on to that.
People that
Yeah.
protect the POTUS.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, great friend of the program. Which has been I had forgotten about it. It was years.
It was during COVID.
I think it was.
It was.
I think it was during that time.
Yep.
So
No
yeah,
time like the
it-
present, baby.
It all works out.
It's a
We'll do
Giving
it.
Friday.
It
It
is.
is.
Yeah, it's a little better or worse coming up next. Mailbag as well.
Higher
Final
or
hour.
lower?
Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally
No.
Bet, sports betting partner of the Cleveland Browns. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Browns Daily brought to you by Ballybet, a sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Time for a little higher or lower, better or worse, presented by Keep It Fun Ohio from the Ohio Lottery, offering easy ways to keep gambling fun. Hello, Gibby.
Gentlemen.
All right.
Any big plans for the weekend? Got any more parties to celebrate the end of the school year?
First non-youth sports, non-holiday weekend since August of last year.
I mean, that's a win for you.
Yeah.
You need that.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. We're laid back.
Poolside?
Yeah. Do that. Get some
hot
shots
tub.
up.
I've got the great Strum extravaganza in New
Oh,
York
that's right.
City.
Is that a 6-hour drive or is that an 8-hour?
Are you in this?
We're flying.
Oh, you're flying?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I didn't know if you were flying or driving.
What's the number where you would have driven it? What's the distance? Even if it's a direct flight, what's the number that you drive?
Number one, depends on the cost of the flights.
Oh, let's say it's negligible.
If the flights are cheap, I'll fly. Otherwise, unless it's under 4 or under. Like, I'm not flying to Detroit.
Right.
You're going for a direct.
I'm driving to Detroit.
Like, let's say, for example,
anything 3 hours or less, I'm driving no matter
like,
what.
let's say, for example, like Cincinnati. Would you drive Cincinnati or would you fly Cincinnati?
Probably, and Baltimore. Baltimore would be one. It just depends.
Baltimore's closer than people realize.
Yeah,
Yes.
Baltimore's 5. You can zip through there, no problem. It would just depend. Like, if I'm flying for less than $100, I'm flying.
Yeah, but I don't even know if that exists anymore.
Or if
Debbie's
if
wife,
I have
she somehow
miles,
gets that. I've never even heard of
if
those
I'll miles it. You know.
I see. I don't think I would burn a miles on that. I think 5 is the sweet spot.
Yeah, 5 would be a discussion.
Yeah,
New York
because
is not a
you're an
discussion.
hour at the airport there and back.
Yes, that's why 3 or 4 is automatic.
Yeah, New York's like 7
at least.
I did that. Well, it was 7 from the Newark airport. I can tell you that because I did that last year at spring break.
Yeah, this side.
Which is that side. Yeah. Yeah, New York's fly for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we're flying into Newark, as a matter of fact. I don't
There you
mind
go.
Newark. I like Newark.
Well, it's all redone. I can tell you that. I was just there.
Yeah, it's much significantly better than LaGuardia. That place, and I know they're revamping that place. But
that place. Yeah.
So are you staying on that side, or are you going into
No,
the city?
so we'll be right through the tunnel, right into the meatpacking district is where we're staying.
Okay.
And everything's right down there. So we got my buddy got us lined up. We're gonna have dinner tonight at Catch New York, which the menu looks spectacular, and he's buddies with the manager, so we're all hooked up there. And then we'll have the extravaganza tomorrow night. And then we're back early Sunday.
It's been a while since I've been to New York, but there certainly is a cool vibe when you're there. It's fun.
And we're going for the perfect amount of time.
Yeah.
2 nights.
Yeah, and you're out.
See ya.
We
I
got
used to do every Saturday night in New York.
That's right. That's amazing.
And it was
my niece is getting married now, and it's bi-week in New York.
Bi-week in New York? Yeah.
So
in the city?
In the city.
Yeah.
It's a Sunday wedding.
Yeah.
So fly in Saturday, fly out Monday,
I'm
baby.
pretty sure that what I go to tomorrow night will be the nicest party I've ever been to by a wide margin since the last time
The
I went to one of
conversations,
theirs.
that we had off.
And I think that this one will blow that away. And last time we were talking about an extravaganza that Nobu provided the sushi for, that there was all you could eat lobster, that there was the house to kill was 1942
through college or was
it?
it
My college buddy.
Oh, that's a good job out of him.
Great,
Very
he's
good job.
done incredibly well for himself, and he deserves it. He has worked his butt off. He absolutely deserves
That's
it. So
awesome.
This will be a splendid evening, to say the very least.
Have you guys been to the Hamptons?
I have once.
Yeah.
Twice, actually. Twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just proximity to money. That's it. It's not the beaches suck. It's just
I put on one of the greatest beer pong performances of my life in the Hamptons. That was that is still talked about when I see some of the people that I only saw there or friends of people that they ran into people that were there that night.
Yeah.
We had in a 2-game stretch, I hit 18 out of 20 shots, and we played with them separated. Like I was in an unconscious zone. It was unbelievable. It was like an out-of-body experience.
Yeah,
That's what I remember about the Hamptons. I watch Summer House. That makes me feel like I'm at the Hamptons.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Anyway,
it's just woods and
Would you rather
Beach.
do that? Like my family has a house up on the Cape. I don't know what's better.
I think they're all
Are
similar.
they all
I think
the
it's
same?
all just proximity to wealth, and that's why it's great. But it's not like none of them are like going to like seaside.
Yeah.
Like you're not getting this
you're not
great
getting that kind of
beach,
beach.
like that type of stuff. my buddy, I was there for my buddy's bachelor party. The buddy of mine one of the guys who runs Facebook Sports, and we went to dinner the Saturday night of the bachelor party at the Palm in East Hampton, and he ordered like the whole lobster. That was the order, and watching him dissect, I mean, it made my whole night.
Oh, it had to be epic.
Yeah, it was a scene, man.
I bet it was a scene.
Because you rarely see like the full guy come out and like all of the knuckles and going through it all. I was like, I mean, this is an incredible display.
You know what I love about the Palm? It's one of the rare places where you can get prime rib and lobster together.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah, they'll give you that.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was say there used to be. I don't know if it's still. I'm guessing it still is. I just haven't been in the Forum shops in a while. But when you left the casino floor at Caesars and went into the Forum shops, the Palm was the first restaurant right to your left. And I used to go in there, and I would love to get lucky. I would put down 2 hands on blackjack. If I hit the first hand, put it all down the second hand. And a couple times when I was in Vegas, I would win.
Yeah.
And then I would take those winnings, and I would go straight to the Palm, and I would get a prime rib and a lobster.
Perfect. Love it.
Paid for itself.
It paid for itself.
That's right.
I remember I was there for the fantasy super draft. I was there by myself, and I did that, and it was like 2 in the afternoon, and I'm like,
sold.
Prime rib and lobster. Let's go.
Right now.
Right now. What were you going to say?
No, here's the other problem with the East. Like, the ocean's not warm. Not up in that direction.
And they can be angry.
And the beaches are rocky.
Great.
It's not.
Yeah, give me the South Florida coastline.
Honestly, for like a summer thing, you might be doing better doing like Western Michigan, like Lake Michigan
where I
beaches
went.
where you were.
Oh
like,
my goodness.
Some of those beaches are unbelievable
beautiful.
Up there.
It's like white sand.
Yep.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
The sand dunes and all that.
Water temp though?
Water was great.
Okay.
The only problem was when we were there last year in July is the time of year where like these little fish all die. And so there's like,
bad luck.
There's like little fish everywhere that are dead floating around. That part wasn't so great.
Not great.
But other than that, it was
wonderful.
Other than that, it was awesome. I've never been to Martha's Vineyard or Cape Cod or any of that stuff.
I haven't either. I assume it's like the Hamptons.
I feel like
though.
you'd be great there. I feel like you'd roll out your Nantucket Reds.
I'd thrive.
Yeah,
I think in those
they'd
scenarios,
welcome. You'd be embraced with open arms there.
I think I'd be okay.
Yep, no doubt.
All right, Gibby.
All right, guys. A little higher or lower ranking the 2023 NFL defenses. The units most likely to crack the top 10. Little tweak on that. Justin, give me a little traveling music here.
Most
as we do
likely.
this. A little NFL music, something.
To travel.
Give me something.
I'm confused.
Defense that is most likely.
We did this with the offense while Zegura was on vacation.
That's right.
We did the offense. The defense came out earlier this week.
So this is a team that wasn't a top 10 defense a year ago?
This is every team in the league. Are they most likely to have a top 10 defense? Somewhat likely, possibly, somewhat unlikely. So at their best, could they be a top 10 defense? It's from your boy, Jared Dubin. This is what he does.
What's the difference between somewhat likely and possibly?
Ask him, man.
I don't know.
I don't either. But
I think we should say yes, potentially, no.
That's kind of where he's at. Yeah.
Well, he's got 4. He's got somewhat likely.
No, he's got 5. He has a most unlikely for offense and defense. There was only one team. It was Arizona.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody else was.
He did. That's true. He had a most.
So we have
unlikely.
5. We have
4. We have most likely, somewhat, possibly, somewhat, and possibly are redundant. Somewhat and possibly are redundant.
Somewhat likely
These
means
guys
you're
are
also
geniuses
somewhat
with
unlikely.
the content that they come up
If you're
with.
only somewhat likely, you're also somewhat unlikely,
Yeah.
which means it's possible.
Possible.
That's the same category.
That's the same category. Yeah.
So I say let's go lock. Maybe. No way.
Sold. Let's go.
Browns are ranked in the possibly category. What should they be ranked?
Lock. Jim Schwartz, Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, MJ Emerson.
As long as Denzel doesn't drive
Juan
a golf cart
Thornhill.
again, we're going to be fine.
Delpit. Lock.
Bishop.
I want one more D tackle.
Woo!
Perry on, baby.
Before I go lock. Before I go lock.
Just have to be top 10.
Before I go lock.
Lock.
Give me one more D tackle.
But
definitely right there. I guess what I would say, to me, the floor is like the 12th.
So then lock.
So in the mix, right there.
In
right
the
on
mix.
the edge.
That's not a lock.
No, not a lock.
Not a lock.
You're
And
close.
There's a little bit. There's a little bit you got to show me.
Little bit of room.
All right, Missouri.
Give me a D tackle. Let's go,
You
AB.
did Dalvin Tomlinson.
One more.
Always want more.
One more beefy guy.
I will say that he is enamored with Jordan Elliott, so maybe Jim Schwartz is the guy to unlock Jordan. Don't give me a look like that.
To be fair.
Don't give me a look.
I like Jordan Elliott a lot.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
What
That
the
is
look
not
that
true.
you just
That
gave
is
me
not
was
true.
the same look I imagine.
He is a very pleasant man. I've loved having him on. You root for him as much as can be. But this was a man where we spent an off season that he transformed his body. A lot of people like him this time of year. He's got to go next year.
The face that you
Gotta
just
go.
made is definitely the face that you texted me when you said we should talk about my accomplishments.
Your greatness, I said.
My greatness.
So anytime we can talk more about your greatness, we all win.
should. Yeah. Beer pong in the Hamptons.
Next,
Why not?
Coop.
Higher or lower?
Beatbox could vouch for that. He was there.
I believe you.
He was. In his most likely to crack the top 10, Buffalo, Dallas, 49ers, Patriots.
Where's Philly?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
He's got them
but
in the
those are
somewhat.
the four in the most likely.
Get
Yeah,
right
he's
out
gotta
of
have
town.
Philly in
the
the mix.
Patriots?
The Patriots.
Get outta here.
Philly's got to be better than New England. I mean,
Yes.
That seems silly to
Get
me.
out of here.
I'm not so sure that Buffalo is
By the way,
a top 10.
where are the Steelers?
I was just going
Did
to
you say them?
Pittsburgh should be in that
They
mix,
are in
too.
the next category.
No.
Pittsburgh's got to go up.
And Philly.
Pittsburgh
Somewhat-
and Philly are both better than where they
I was going to say the somewhat likelies are Baltimore, Cincinnati, Denver, the Jets, the Eagles, the Squealers.
Eagles and Steelers should not be in the category with those other teams. They should be ahead. I have both of those ahead of New England.
I don't. Again, maybe it's me.
I mean-
Is Dallas that great defensively?
Yeah.
Am I missing?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I mean, they got Micah, but
They got a lot of people. DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah.
okay. So
They're good.
they're okay. But Buffalo, I mean, we don't know what we're going to get from Von Miller.
I mean, I don't necessarily love giving these guys all the credit in the world, but Pittsburgh's pretty damn good.
Pittsburgh is good. Every year they're good.
Defensively, they're going to
They're
need
really
that
good.
defense
yeah.
to be
And
good.
didn't they have I mean, now I'm trying to remember what they did from a draft standpoint. Oh, they added Keanu Benton in the second round.
Yes,
that's
it's
right.
exactly
And
what they
added-
needed.
And they added Joey Porter Jr., who
Yeah.
fell to the second round to them.
Exactly.
So they got both of those cats.
Yeah.
On that team.
I think they're in a pretty good spot.
So they added what they needed. They added a corner, which is what they needed. Watt. I mean, come on. What are we doing?
I don't think the Bengals should be in there.
I'm
think
fine with the Bengals where they are. They shouldn't be in the one above them.
No, they're
No,
inappropriate.
It's likely.
But defensively,
It's implied.
they lost their safeties. Like they've
They
lost
have-
some guys.
Yeah, they did have some futures planning with that, with Dax Hill behind Bates. I think they feel like it could be in a net positive at the corner position with where they end up. Because they still have a Awuzie, they still have Hilton.
He's got to come back off the ACL.
He does,
though.
yeah.
I think
But
the Bengals.
Pittsburgh and Philly got to go up.
Why is New England
I
simply
think
up there because of Belichick?
Yeah, I don't know.
Who knows?
I would say that a lot of these, you got to remember, a lot of these writers they're from that area. A lot of these national, I don't know if this kid is or not, this guy is or not, I have no idea. But a lot of them are in that northeast corridor, and they have such a reverence for Belichick.
Boy, do they.
They really do. Actually, I think our defense is better than the Bengals.
That's what I
Yes.
mean. Like I think I would flip. I would
As
flip
currently
the Bengals and the
constructed.
Browns.
So as of,
Hawkinson's for the Cincinnati.
yeah, right now for Cincinnati, they did. Right now it's Awuzie, Hilton, Cam Taylor, Britt, and then they drafted DJ Turner in the second round. They got Jordan Battle. They drafted in the third round at safety. Their linebackers are pretty. Their D line's legit. Hubbard, Reeder, Hill, Hendrickson. That's pretty legit.
The Jets need to be in the top group as well. New England out. The Jets were awesome on defense last year.
In the possibly category.
I can't believe, and he doesn't even mention anything about our team. We're not talked about, which is fine. Prove it.
We know
We'll show
why.
them.
But
Well,
yes.
he said the Browns have had the top-end talent to be an elite defense for a while, but haven't been able to put all the pieces together. Myles Garrett remains, now joined by Dalvin Tomlinson and Zadarius Smith up front. Can the cornerback trio finally
coalesce into a special group?
Into a special group. Thank you, because I had a moment there.
Look at this. I mean, I've just pulled up like the New England defense.
Judon's a beast.
He's a beast.
Their corners are good.
Gonzalez they drafted out of Oregon in the first round, so he's a nice player. Should be.
Yeah, but then they have, was it Jack Jones?
Jack Jones is there.
Yep.
I don't know. It doesn't look like.
Who was the
it's
kid
not-
they got on the 4th round out of Houston a year ago? He was unbelievable.
I mean, if you want to put them in the most likely because
Wise?
they've got some players, fine.
No,
Dietrich
corner.
Wise?
No,
Oh,
corner. He's a second-year player. He should
Jack
be-
Jones is the one we already talked about him. He was a 4th rounder last year.
That was then Jack Jones. Yeah, that guy's a beast.
So in the possibly category, along with the Browns, Carolina, they got a pretty good defense.
Mm-hmm.
Green Bay,
Yeah.
Jackson,
Green Bay probably should be higher.
Jacksonville,
Okay.
Kansas City,
Yeah.
the Los Angeles Chargers. I feel like the Chargers need to be way up there.
They got to do it. They got to stay healthy. But yeah,
Dolphins, Saints, Seahawks, Commies.
Yeah. I mean, I think those are all really good defenses.
Yep.
There's nobody on that list that I think is. I mean, you could move. Again, there's no difference between somewhat likely and possibly. I tell you what I would do. This what you want me to fix this thing?
Let's fix
You
it.
take the Jets, the Eagles, and the Steelers up.
Yep.
To most likely, and then
us.
you put fine, and then you put all the rest of them together, because all the rest of them are possibly.
Yep.
They're all the defenses you went over there: Ravens, Bengals, Broncos, Panthers, us. If you want to put us up, Packers, Jaguars, Chiefs, Chargers, Dolphins, Saints, Seahawks, Commies, all the same.
Yep.
All very good defenses.
Yep.
None of them are bad.
Now, from the somewhat unlikely, would you move any of these up? The Lions, the Rams, the Giants, the Titans.
No.
Okay.
I don't know. I think one of the most fascinating things in the entire league is going to be what the Rams do. I don't know.
Agreed.
I have no idea what they're doing.
Aren't the Titans always a pretty solid defense?
Vrabel's always got them ready to play.
They'll play.
I mean, if
hard.
you're going to give the Patriots the Belichick factor, like maybe you should give that for Vrabel as well.
I think that they're kind of like
They're just
kind of in nowhere.
I think their offense is going to put their defense in a lot of bad spots, which
Yeah.
I would say the same is probably true of New England, though,
Yeah.
the way I see it.
All right.
Here's one for you. Let's follow me on this. Which Super Bowl contender has the worst defense? Like legitimate Super Bowl contender with the worst defense? Because most of them look like they're pretty good.
It's a tremendous question.
They're all good.
Like-
I mean, I think they're all pretty good.
Is it KC?
They were pretty good last year, though.
I know, but is everybody else that you'd consider a contender?
Jacksonville?
Yeah, Jacksonville, Kansas City.
My,
Are you ready to say Jacksonville's a Super Bowl contender?
I mean, I think they're going to win their division, so
No, but I mean, like if we woke up in February on a Monday morning, the Jacksonville Jaguars just won the Super Bowl, you'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
they're one of the teams I list as a team that
You do, yeah.
thinks.
Cincinnati?
I mean, it would be a surprise
Yeah.
that they happen that quickly, but I think they're on their way. And if Trevor Lawrence is who it appears that he is, and they got ETN, they drafted Tank Bigsby at running back. You get Calvin Ridley for free to go with Kirk and Ingram, and
I like them a lot.
They've got a lot of talent.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
that
I don't know.
Natty?
I don't know what that team is. That's the best team with the
I can tell
suspect
you.
defense. There's not many that have it.
No.
Is the Ravens D a little overrated?
But I don't consider them a Super Bowl contender.
I mean, they would.
I know they would, but I don't.
The quarterback actually has to play in December for me to.
I just
begin
don't.
to think
I don't.
that.
I don't think they're very good at receiver. I don't think that. I don't. They're not on that level to me. Their floor is really high, but their ceiling is relatively low.
Buffalo? I'm not high on Buffalo this year, and I feel like it's a make or break year.
I think it's a fair take, Gibby. I think it's a fair take. You've been. They last year felt like their year. Like that was the one where it was like, okay, go.
Yeah.
So.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what the answer to it is, but most of the teams that are our contenders are set up with really good defenses.
That's where we're at.
Yeah.
That's higher or lower?
Because it's loaded.
It's loaded up.
It is.
Yeah, really is.
I feel like we should just skip in
little mailbag for the kids.
Yeah, let's do a mailbag.
All right,
let's have some
that's
fun.
It's good way to go out. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. back in the game. Call 1-800-ELK Ohio for a free case review. Elk & Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. It is a Friday. It is 2:30. Little mailbag, Gibby?
Yeah, let's have a little fun.
Do it.
First and foremost, I did want to get one thought from you.
Yeah.
From the SEC meetings this week.
Yeah. Oh,
maybe more more important than any NFL owner meetings or anything else. I feel like when the SEC has a meeting, it's going to determine the future of college football.
So give them a lot of credit for a lot of things. Number one, they were the first to a conference championship game and demonetized that. Then they did this thing where they would do like their coaches' media days, and they would do it the Tuesday after the Wednesday after the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. So they got like all the attention in the world.
All of it, yep.
So now they added this thing, which is nobody else does. Like this is just a nonsense meeting in May. They go to Destin and they get all together and they create more news. So the big topic this year was to go from an 8 or a 9 game schedule because they're adding Oklahoma and Texas a year early next year. So there'll be a 16-team league and they could go to a 9 game conference schedule or play an 8 game conference schedule. So the thinking is, well, good Lord, you have 16 teams, play 9 conference games and have 3 non-conference games, and that's a win. And the SEC voted to not do that for 2024, but rather to stay at 8 games, which brought the ire of a lot of people saying, like, really? So you're going to play 4 non-conferences, and of your 14 teams in 2023, only 2 play 10 Power 5 opponents? Their pushback is this: our league's tougher than yours. Which is true.
Yes.
It is. You can't argue it in this part of the country. Ohio State every year gets to play Rutgers and Maryland.
Yep.
It's on the schedule every year. Every time. So that's 2. Those are 2 teams. There's one of those in the SEC. It's Vanderbilt. But that's it. Kentucky's not that anymore. Kentucky produces dudes. Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Missouri, all those teams. Look at the draft. They all have dudes. So they don't have that anymore. But what this is really about is what it's always been about, and that's about money. So the Georgia president made this announcement, made this press conference this week where he said that, look, we'll go to 9, but we feel like maybe we ought to make a little bit more if we did. And apparently in the contract that was signed by ESPN, who now is going to control all the SEC rights, in that contract, it doesn't stipulate the fact that going to 9 games would be more
an extra week of good stuff for them.
An extra television show for them. So what this really is about is, we'll go to 9, but we'd like a little more.
Yeah. And they'll get it.
And they'll get it because it has that type of value. And adding Texas and Oklahoma, I mean, that's 15 teams. I mean, if you want to, all right, you want to say South Carolina and Missouri, but like Jadeveon Clowney played at South Carolina. Like, there's dudes.
Missouri turns out pros
Jordan
all the time.
Elliott, pros all the time, yeah. Like, they're maybe not on the same level, but the other 13 are. And in all of the places, even at South Carolina and Missouri not quite as much, but at South Carolina for sure, like, it matters. In those places.
Why wouldn't
Missouri does? They threw oranges at me.
Why wouldn't they take like an Oklahoma State, which is always the top 25
because they already have
Oklahoma?
But
it's a good. It's a. And it
they don't
turns
need
out
it.
pros.
They don't need it.
It fits. I feel like
the SEC has there's going to be a lot of expansion this summer, probably by the Big 12. The big thing hanging over all of college sports right now is the Pac-12 does not have a media rights deal. So USC and UCLA left the Pac-12 last July to come to the Big 10. The Pac-12, now Pac-10, has had a year almost, 11 months, to get a media rights deal done, and they do not have one. They were going to announce one. Reportedly, they were announcing one. Well, no, not reportedly. They said they'd have one by the end of March. It's now June 2nd. They still don't have one.
Yep.
So that league is holding on by a thread.
Yeah, it's gone.
The Big 12 is ready to poach. The problem
Big
is
10
there's not
too. Stanford. They should get Stanford.
I think so. The SEC, I think, it would surprise people who they want. I don't think the SEC wants anybody, but I think the 2 teams the SEC would have interest in around the country are Miami and North Carolina. I think those are the 2 schools that they'd have an interest in. That would get them into the state of North Carolina, which they currently are not, and it would give them a cosmopolitan location, which they currently do not have, and they would then have North Florida and South Florida. They basically would own the state. So those would be the 2 teams they have an interest in.
You don't think they'd be interested in Clemson?
No, because they already have it with South Carolina. They don't need it.
Well, Clemson's good.
It is, but if I'm going to give South Carolina $80 million a year in television revenue, and Clemson's going to get $28 million a year in television revenue, eventually, which is where we're going to be at next year, eventually it's impossible for Clemson to keep up. They just can't. So same thing with Florida State in Florida. Like, obviously, Florida State and Clemson both should be SEC schools. They have that feel. The SEC's point of view is we don't need them. We already have Florida and South Carolina. We don't need you. And they're probably
so
right.
the U and North Carolina.
So that would give them two unique things. I think the only thing, I think the Big Ten would love to have North Carolina. I think they'd love it. I think it would fit. I think the Big Ten would maybe like to have Miami. I think the Big Ten would like to have, I think another team that would pique their interest would be Virginia. None of the, obviously Miami, North Carolina provide things athletically, Virginia less. If the Big Ten wanted any of the Pac-10 teams, they would have already had them if they wanted them.
Are you surprised they don't want Stanford?
I am, because I think it fits like what a lot of those schools' academic profile is, and I think they're
a great sports school.
It is, in the non-revenue sports especially. Yeah. But the problem is
what you just said. Non-revenue sports.
Yeah,
but they've turned out a ton of pros.
They have. The bigger issue, I think, though, with that is, and this is the thing that I think the Big Ten is not given enough credence to. You're going to have two tentpole institutions in Southern California, and everything they do is going to be a multiple-hour trip. And I understand that it's a long ways from L.A. to San Francisco, but for your teams and for theirs,
an hour flight.
For your teams and theirs, you need more dance partners out there.
Yeah.
You need to buoy them up a little bit.
I'm surprised they don't want Oregon, honestly.
Yeah.
Nike.
Well, the owner tried Kevin Warren, who's a former commissioner of the league, he really pushed for Oregon and Washington.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a play where I think what's most likely for the Big Ten is that they end up with Oregon, Washington, Stanford, and Cal. And I think what they would do is they would make them all take discounts. Like they wouldn't give them the full freight on the TV package, which they did that with Rutgers and Maryland and Nebraska when they joined. They didn't get the full TV money for like a decade. USC and UCLA are going to get it right away.
Do you think they would ever take somebody out? Like, what did it? Rutgers?
Oh, my God, you'd love to kick out. I mean, that was so boneheaded. You'd love to kick out Rutgers. You'd love to kick out Illinois. You'd love to kick out Purdue.
Illinois has been there forever.
Like,
though.
no, but they right, sure, for sure. But like, those are not college football programs of consequence, nor will they ever be.
Yeah,
you know,
not since Jeff George left.
Yeah, they went to a
Juice
big bowl
Williams.
game in 2001.
They went to a Rose Bowl. They went to a Rose Bowl in like 07, 06 or 07 with Ron Zook.
Yeah,
with Juice Williams at quarterback and Aurelius Ben. Yeah, they did. So but it's just hard. It's really hard at those places.
All right, so we'll get into the mailbag. Just one real quick thought. Nick Saban saying that they work 44 weeks a year where they work 7 days a week.
Yeah, so he charted it.
Yeah.
He charted it. He said this on Sirius XM that they charted it and they work 7 days a week, 44 weeks out of the year. So
because of NIL
and free transfer.
Yeah.
So there is no off. And it is burning dudes out. It's burning them out.
44 weeks.
And it's not even just the coach. It's not like just the head coaches. They make the money. That's what the money's for. But it's the support staff that's just being exhausted by this. Because the NCAA drove head on into an iceberg.
All right. Tweet at the show at Browns_Daily. H. Schneider, as a fan, any suggestions how to show my support for Jim Donovan? Thanks and God bless. Just thoughts and prayers. Most importantly.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's
Yeah.
He feels it. I know that for a fact.
He totally does. Yellowstone with a question for us.
All right.
What is the most number of chicken nuggets you can eat in a, quote, lunch setting? You can pick both restaurant and regular or spicy.
Well, I mean, I
feel
guess
like I'm going for a record.
If I was going for a record, I would probably do the Chick-fil-A nuggets. And I think I could. I mean, if I don't even. My kids get them a lot. I feel like I could put away a lot of them.
Like 100.
You could do 100 in your sleep. I've seen you. They're like this big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy.
Give me the Polynesian sauce. That
Chick-fil-A puts the number one sauce.
Yeah, you guys.
It does.
I know you guys are big on that. Yeah.
Jade McCrae, please forgive me if this has been covered already, but what is the reason for the undisclosed location? A refurb studio with an on-air light, and will an undisclosed location ever be disclosed to us mere mortals? Have a great weekend.
For sure, Jade. It will be after we're not here.
Yeah, the building's under renovation, namely the second floor. They had to put a new roof on the facility. And
not for us, though. We'll look the same, right?
I'm pretty sure we'll look the same.
I
don't know.
We
There
didn't have
could
to
be
move
a-
anything,
yeah.
so I hope
there could
so.
be a little bit of a rebranding come fall, but we'll see how that.
Oh.
We'll see how that goes.
Oh, is there?
Sure. Brad Howard tweets at the show, "What's y'all's dream golf foursome, and who would you put on the Cleveland sports Mount Rushmore?"
Good Lord, those are two.
Those are monster questions.
I definitely
Well,
want
Gibby, who would you put on the Cleveland sports Mount Rushmore?
Well, you got to have Jim Brown.
Yeah.
Are you serious right now? There's another automatic.
Don't do the thing, please. Just once, don't do the thing.
Just say it. Put him on.
He's got to be on. LeBron's got to be on.
Okay.
Yeah, LeBron has to be on.
Bernie has to be on.
No.
Yes, he does. He's the most beloved athlete in the history of this city.
Otto?
He's not as beloved as Bernie. Bernie is more
You could
loved
put
in this
Otto
town.
on, though.
No
You could do
disrespect.
both of
I'm
them.
not trying to disrespect
I understand.
Bernie.
I'm just saying,
like, I don't.
Is this in terms of beloved or is it in terms of greatness?
Well, I don't know. Like when you think about,
I'm going off of greatness.
Let's use the actual, Mount Rushmore as a guide. Like Teddy Roosevelt's one of my favorite figures in the history of history, but he couldn't be that much of a that much of a consequential president because there was no war. Like he said that himself.
Yeah.
So like, what I don't know. On greatness, no, it probably wouldn't be Bernie. But I feel
speak
like
softly and carry a big stick.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, man in the arena. But I don't know what the so you Otto, Jim, LeBron, and then you need a Indian.
Yeah, I know, and I'm not. I'm
when
not
you
quite
think
sure.
of the '90s Indians,
Bob Feller.
Feller's the answer, but
yeah,
that's clearly the answer. But when you think of the '90s Indians, who's the human that best represents them? Is it Tommy?
Joe Carter?
Is it Albert Bell?
I mean,
Omar Vizquel?
Albert was
Joey Bell.
Albert. Don't call me Joey.
Yeah.
Lofton.
But how long?
I don't know. I mean, Lofton. I think Lofton got traded in '97 for Marquise
Dennis
Grissom
Eckersley.
and Dave Justice, and that's when Bell left around there too. Baerga was there.
Sandy
Chuck
Alomar
Nagy.
Jr.
Sandy Alomar Jr. might be the face of that '90s team. Like he was the leader. He was an all-star. Like
Carlos Baerga.
Charles Nagy.
Lofton's here for 5 years before being traded to Atlanta, and then he comes back. So Lofton ends up playing 9 years of his career here.
The San Francisco, the Bay Area Mount Rushmore would be Joe, Jerry, Barry, and Steph Curry. And that would feel pretty difficult
Barry or
to
Willie Mays?
dismount.
Like I feel like you
Willie
could
Mays.
like
My
yeah
dad would
number
fight all day
one
for
is
Willie Mays.
Feller, but I would also like Lou Boudreau, Larry Doby.
Lou Boudreau.
I think it's Feller.
Yeah. It's Feller. Feller is on there.
Crazy thing is
I
like
think we've
that's
talked-
like such ancient history. Like you'd almost have to do it more recently.
Yeah.
To be able to do it. Hey, I want to give you guys one off of the golf one, just to put stipulations to it because we've done the all-time golf.
Yeah, we have.
I want
one
Larry
is
David.
one is your favorite actor, one is an athlete, and one is a fictional character from a movie or TV show.
Larry David.
So LD is your favorite actor.
Well, he's also, in some ways, a fictional character.
Well, that would allow
from
you
a
to use
TV
it.
show,
But then I suppose you'd have to play as LD from Curb.
which is what I want.
Yeah.
That's exactly who I want to golf with.
Yeah, that guy.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Although
That would allow
I think,
you to get
hold
the
on,
Funk Man
I was
to
gonna say
play
I
with
could go LD as real LD, the Funk Man as the Funk Man.
Yeah.
which would be a ton of fun. And then what was the third one?
One athlete.
You'd have to go Sexy Rexy.
I don't know if he's a golfer.
You want somebody who would be fun.
I might be.
Not to say that he wouldn't.
I
don't know if
might
he would
be
or not.
quite entertained by a foursome of me, John Daly, Larry, and the Funk Man. Might be
John Daly working with and against the Funk Man, and LD
and
would
against
be,
with and against Larry.
with and against LD would be a scene man.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Sir Charles is always an easy answer too. I feel like he'd be a good
he'd
time
be
to go
fun.
with. Jordan would be too cutthroat. I think. I don't think he'd be fun necessarily.
No,
You know what? I could take Tiger though. Me, Peak Tiger, LD, and the Funk Man. Although I don't know if he's fun enough.
Tiger?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know either. Hard to say. I think for sure Jordan wouldn't be.
Yes.
I don't think that would be an enjoyable 4 hours at all.
I'd have to go Barkley.
Barkley'd be fun.
Like, let's drink some drinks and play a little
That's
golf.
why I think John Daly would be fun because John Daly
JD would have a good
would,
time.
Number one, you'd have all the fun
without shoes.
and he'd also hit
With
golf
a
shots
heater.
where you'd be like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like it would be
Yeah.
kind of a wow golf experience to watch him actually play.
Like, make it a scramble team.
Oh man.
Daily, Chuck will give you a few things, but it'll just make you laugh.
I like the idea of Funkman and LD together.
I do
because
too.
Their
That's
dynamic is just
so good.
priceless.
And they both love golf.
They both love it. Yeah, that's a good group.
Bobby, what did teachers used to say about you on your report card, and is it still true?
He never reaches his potential. Still true.
mine was I was a great student, but I would maybe shoot my bazoo without a license too frequently.
That's on. Nothing's changed there either. Let's see. What is your go-to movie when you need a mood boost?
I've been in a real late 80s, early 90s action movie bender lately.
Oh,
and
I
find
know.
them to be
I saw your tweet last
so
night
much
about
fun.
that.
So much fun to pop in on Commando at the mall scene. I watched Predator a couple of weeks ago. I think NBC and I are going to run out Die Hard over the weekend. So those are always winners for me. I just find them to be such a guilty pleasure.
Caddyshack,
Roadhouse.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Dazed and Confused. What About Bob? Always put us Zoolander.
I mean the hour. It's about 66 minutes of thereabouts from crab cakes and football to The Painting Was a Gift is undefeated. It's undefeated.
I was going to say old school Wedding Crashers. Yeah.
Old school
I think if
is-
you're talking about 66 minutes from like the beginning of the movie.
I'm saying from
once they get to the island.
I'm saying crab cakes and football to The Painting Was a Gift, Todd, is nothing but there's only one scene that's not a heater, and that's when they do the bikes. But that's it. Everything else is just like Vaughn is throwing 108 and he's hitting the black on
But aren't you
everyone.
cutting out? Are you cutting out?
I'm saying it's all
the opening
great.
scene. The opening scene is.
Yeah, but I mean that's kind of that's just kind of it's a montage. But like it's all good. It is.
montage.
It is. But I mean in terms of like just the writing of that hour is, and Vaughn's
like it.
performance is a tour de force in that hour.
I like it from start through. The Painting Was a Gift. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
It's
take
so,
that whole
so
thing.
good.
And Bradley Cooper, so unlikable.
Yeah. Sack lunch.
Sack lunch. Detestable.
sack lunch.
By the way, at some point because I think it's more
We
than
have
just,
so many more, and I think we're just going to have to wait till Monday to do them.
It's more than just a one mailbag question because I would like us to really. I had a deep thought while I was on the water in.
How about you give it to us when we come back from break?
No, I think it requires more than
It's
a great-
2:51. We gotta
It's a
go to
real
break.
off season, an off season one where we can spend
so
some
much
real
more
time.
to come.
Yeah, of cornucopia.
You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, Gibbe.
James the Ringer, what's the Friday night drink? All three of you. Go.
You know what I had at yesterday at Muirfield, which is lovely this time of year, is the Transfusion.
Oh, it's a great golf drink.
What a great golf drink. They put them with like the Sonic Ice, and then it's 3 ounces of vodka, 1.5 ounces of grape juice, ginger ale, and a lime squeeze. Man, that was delicious.
That Transfusion's great.
So good. Yeah,
it's great.
They claim they invented them down there. I don't know.
For me, Friday night, first drink I'll have for sure. Tequila, reposado on the rocks, muddled jalapenos, lime. See ya.
It always wins.
Doesn't
Gibbe?
lose.
Tito's and lemonade or a PBR?
There you go.
Tito's and lemonade.
I like it.
Do you ever dabble in
Long
with
Island?
John Daly?
Be careful.
Oh, yeah.
Be careful.
John Daly's good. Be careful, the Long Island.
Long Island's. Be careful.
Yeah.
Mixing of water, brother. The next level's coming up
Or
next.
not.
We're back Monday. Thanks for listening, everybody. Cleveland Runs Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.